Have you ever had one of those mornings where everything seemed like it was going to plan, and then out of nowhere, chaos showed up? Well, for me recently, it was a nosebleed. Not mine, my youngest daughter's, right in the middle of breakfast on a day when everything absolutely needed to run smoothly. And while we got through it, that nosebleed ended up reminding me a powerful lesson about chaos, control, and how to create calm, both at home and in our demanding healthcare careers. Hi there, I'm Dr. Santina or Tina Wheat. I'm a family physician, an educator, and a career and life coach. And I'm dedicated to helping healthcare workers conquer their chaos and get to calm. But let's get back to my story and take you back to that week. My husband was traveling, which meant it was just me and my girls juggling everything. We do have help in the afternoons, but the mornings are all on us. Between school, dance practice, homework, meals, you name it. And as many of you know, when you are the only parent that's managing the household, mornings can either run really smoothly or they can spiral out of control really fast. It often feels like there is no in between. So, the night before this particular day, I called my daughter on my way home and I walked my youngest through a very specific checklist. Make sure your homework is zipped up in your backpack. Make sure your train card is tucked away. Make sure your dance clothes are in your dance bag and ready for the next day. Every time I told her one of these things to do, she would say, "Now?" And I said, "Yes, now." And after she asked that question 3 times, I finally said, "In fact, I want you to do all of those things right now, and then call me back and tell me when they're done." Why did we get to this level? Well, because earlier in the week, I had told her to do some things and she said she would do them. And I trusted her to do them later. And that later never happened. And so we were scrambling. And because when that later doesn't happen, it shows up as stress at absolutely the worst possible moment. So thankfully, she did do all of those things and she called me back and told me that they were done. So the next morning, I thought we were golden. I thought we were doing pretty well. We woke up on time. She got down to breakfast quickly. And then, bam, there was chaos. Suddenly, my youngest had a nosebleed. She used to get them all of the time, and we used to be used to them. But I thought we were past them because it'd been over a year since the last one. So, truthfully, this as a possibility wasn't even on my radar. There we were, tissues everywhere, blood, drama, a little bit of panic. Meanwhile, my oldest watching it all unfold, wondering how this is going to impact her and rolling her eyes like, seriously, this is happening right now. Despite the mess, we got her cleaned up. We sent her off with extra tissues and still managed to get out the door. And we were only a couple of minutes behind schedule, which honestly, at that point, felt like a small miracle because it could have been 20 minutes behind schedule. As we were in the car driving to the train, I turned to my youngest and I said, I am so glad that you packed everything last night. And immediately she was upset and she shot back, but it's not my fault I had a nosebleed. And I said, of course it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. But still, sometimes the unexpected happens. And of course she was right. It wasn't her fault. And that was exactly the point. The unexpected will always happen. Chaos is always a part of our life, whether it's a nosebleed at breakfast, whether it's an urgent email at work, or a patient who suddenly takes a turn. We aren't able to prevent these things, and we can't blame ourselves or the others who are involved when they happen. But what we can do is we can prepare for what is predictable so that the unexpected does not completely throw us off. And that's where the calm comes in. So, of course, this is not just about kids and our morning routines. It is about so many other things. And if you work in healthcare, you know that unpredictability is part of the job. Not a single patient wants to follow the script. Our systems fail, and sometimes priorities shift on a dime. And it feels like that's happening a lot lately. And when every day feels like you are bracing for that next fire to put out, it is absolutely exhausting. And that can help the burnout creep in, not just because of the chaos itself, but because we don't have enough of a buffer that is built in to handle it. So, what does preparation look like in this context? Well, it can be the things like finishing projects before the deadline so that you have a margin when an emergency comes up. This is something that I try to do so that I give myself a little bit of extra breathing room. It can be things like blocking time in your calendar for meals, for rest, or even just a bathroom break in between meetings. It might mean building in recovery time during your heavy clinical or administrative weeks so that you can think clearly instead of feeling like you were just constantly running on empty. Now, I'm going to be honest. None of these are glamorous strategies, and they are kind of boring, in fact. But these are the exact small habits that allow you to stay grounded when the unexpected inevitably shows up. So, keeping that all in mind, here is what I would love for you to take away from my daughter's nosebleed morning. Calm does not come from limiting. Calm does not come from eliminating the chaos. It comes from building systems and habits that give you the capacity to meet the chaos without completely unraveling. This is how we can conquer the chaos. You should start small. Maybe tonight you prepare one thing in advance. Maybe tonight you prepare one thing in advance that will make tomorrow easier. Maybe it's that you protect 15 minutes for lunch in your calendar this week. Maybe it's you look at a recurring task that always drains you and figure out if there is a simpler way. Each of these small steps adds up. Each of these small steps builds in a margin. And they remind you that while chaos is inevitable, calm is still possible. Now, if this story resonated with you, I think that you will really appreciate my free on-demand masterclass, Simple Practices to Create Calm in a Demanding Career. In it, I share practical strategies that you can start using right away to help you reduce stress, even when your work feels completely unpredictable, to protect your energy in the middle of demanding schedules, and to build calm into your daily routine without adding more to your plate. Because while we can't prevent all of life's nosebleeds, we can prepare ourselves to meet them with steadiness. You can watch this masterclass for free on your timeline. I'll drop the link in the description below. Thank you for being here. If you found this helpful, I hope that you will like this video and share with someone else who might need it. And then subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next video. And if you would like any additional help, feel free to reach out and see if I might be a good fit for you. Thanks for joining, and let's all conquer our chaos and get to calm.